Hello and welcome to my first ever film review for this channel. This week we'll be looking at The House. The House is a new stop-motion anthology film developed by London's Nexus Studios and is currently available on Netflix. The film tells three stories that span different time periods and characters, all linked through a mysterious, omnipresent house. I'm a bit of a sucker when it comes to stop-motion films and television, starting with my childhood enjoyment of Aardman's classic Wallace and Gromit series, as well as the fantastic Australian film Mary and Max, both of which I highly recommend. The sheer amount of work and dedication that goes into these projects is something that I just can't help but admire. So, when I saw The House suddenly pop up on my Netflix feed, I just knew I had to check it out. I knew absolutely nothing going into this film, and to get the most out of the experience, I would recommend you do the same. This film was a beautiful, harrowing experience, so feel free to go watch it and then return here for my review. It'd also give me 2 views for the price of 1.
Sometimes my genius it's almost frightening.
I will say though that don't be fooled by the stop-motion style. These films are not for children. These films explore dark, cynical themes of obsession and greed to their extremes, and therefore may not be for everyone. The anthology starts off incredibly strongly with Chapter 1 and Heard Within, A Lie Is Spun, directed by Emma DeSwaif and Mark James Rolls. This chapter is set in the past and focuses on a modest country family who was approached by an eccentric architect, offering them the opportunity to live in a luxurious new home on the one condition that they never leave. What follows is an eerie set of events, to say the least. This film in particular really stayed with me after my initial viewing. I haven't felt so disquieted and uncomfortable watching a film since Hereditary. And if a horror film was being compared to Hereditary, the filmmakers have done something right. Chapter 1 has so much going for it. For one, the stop-motion design of the characters are a standout. They have this fantastic uncanny valley effect through the combination of their soft felt material and beady eyes that really heightens the uncomfortableness throughout, especially as the film's oppressive atmosphere increases. This stop-motion style seems to be a signature of these directors, and I for one am a fan. I just love the look of these characters' designs, although they do initially take some getting used to. Combined with the realistic features of the house, the characters begin to feel like children's play toys, which helps to serve the film's themes and symbolism. The cinematography was also fantastic, amplifying the quiet, abrasive horror that continues to build throughout the film. There's this interesting, almost cosmic Lovecraftian element to the film, which is heightened by the cinematography. There are some beautifully uncomfortable shots that are definitely a highlight and easily results in the best cinematography out of all 3 films. Overall, this film felt like a never-ending nightmare, and I mean that in the best way possible. Next in this anthology is Chapter 2, Then Lost Is Truth That Can't Be Won, directed by Nikki Lindroth von Bahr. Set in the modern day with anthropomorphic rats, the film follows a character known only as the developer, as he alone prepares the house for a luxurious property viewing with the hopes to sell. He quickly becomes aware of an escalating infestation of fur beetles in the house, and he must now try to exterminate or hide the beetles' presence. This film for me is unfortunately the weakest out of the 3. There are definitely things to enjoy. The stop motion is still just as incredible as the first chapter, and there was one standout sequence that was just absolutely insane and incredible. Trust me, you'll know what I mean when you get to it. But besides that, this one just failed to hook me. The main issue for me is the protagonist. He wasn't very interesting or enjoyable, and I think that ties into his agency within the story. I don't think I can go into any more detail about the story without a few spoilers, so be warned here. As the film progresses, the developer's actions to eradicate the beetles continuously fail spectacularly. The situation only escalates much to his exasperated annoyance. This causes him to inevitably lose his mind in an attempt at morbid humour, but unfortunately it just didn't land with me. Unlike Chapter 1, where the family caused their own downfall through their own decisions and agency, here the beetles just appear for no real reason in the story. Therefore, this comes off as cruel as this pathetic character fails at every turn for no real thematic purpose. It's oppressive with no real dramatic payoff. Finally, we reach Chapter 3, Listen Again and Seek the Sun. This film was directed by Paloma Beza and thankfully tells a more uplifting story compared to the others. Set in a future after a post-apocalyptic flood, the house is now owned by an anthropomorphic cat named Rosa, who is obsessively attempting to renovate the house. At the same time, the water level slowly rises, and the tenants plan to leave the house for better things, forcing Rosa into a difficult decision. Unlike the other 2 films, which are incredibly oppressive and cynical, this film instead attempts to tell a more heartfelt story that stays true to the overall themes of the collection while also expanding on those themes. Like the other 2 stories, the protagonist is just as obsessive and attached to the house for selfish reasons. However, Rosa's support network is the true highlight of the film. The dialogue between the characters is fantastic, assisted with some wonderful performances by the actors, including renowned British actress Helena Bonham Carter. Although this world is quite outlandish in presentation, the characters felt real and believable, helping Rosa move on from her obsessions. The true standouts for this film are the characters in stop motion. Although not as unique as Chapter 1, the design for these characters allow them to become very expressive, helping with the actor's performance. Overall, this is a great film and a fantastic conclusion to the collection's themes. The House was an engaging anthology collection and was a fantastic surprise. Going in with little to no information, this collection blew me away. With its fantastic stop motion throughout, great cinematography, and an impactful and important message. Overall, I would highly recommend this film, and I've given it an 8 out of 10.